Hey guys, Bob Brennaman here. I'm a realtor in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and today I'm going to share 3 things I think you need to know about Old Village and Old Mount Pleasant. The first thing that I think you should know is probably something that's pretty obvious with old in the name, is that Old Village and Old Mount Pleasant are pretty historic. Charleston was founded in 1680 and Old Mount Pleasant was founded shortly after that. So what they would do is they would ferry boat people across from Charleston into Mount Pleasant, which was the banks of Mount Pleasant, Alhambra Hall, which still stands today, and people would dance on the weekends. And that's kind of the way Mount Pleasant got founded. And then obviously the neighborhoods of Old Village and Old Mount Pleasant were built out. And then, over the last several hundred years, the 92,000 or so people living in Mount Pleasant were added. The second thing that I want to share with you is the distinct areas between Old Village and Old Mount Pleasant. Old Village is everything from Charleston Harbor to Royal Avenue. So all of that in there is the oldest part of Mount Pleasant. And then everything from Royal Avenue to either Coleman Boulevard or to Ben Sawyer, depending on which way you're leaving Old Mount Pleasant, is Old Mount Pleasant. And again, people use it interchangeably. Truth is, the higher value is in Old Village. So you could see a house on Pitt Street, and then you could go 3 streets over, maybe up to McCants, and see a house, and you're like, wow, why is the price difference so great? It's because the historic part is of more value to most people. And while I'm talking about values, I would say if you want the latest list of what's for sale, what's sold in Old Village and Old Mount Pleasant, you can text me or you can call me, 843-345-6074, and I can get you a list straight away that way. So what we're seeing in the area is a major redo because of its supreme location. On just about every street in Old Mount Pleasant, there's a house being renovated. I was over there yesterday working, and it's just amazing to me the number of new construction houses, whether they're adding on to the existing old houses in Old Mount Pleasant or they're just tearing the old cinder block houses down. It's such a great place to live, and that ties into my third point is location, location, location. You always want to buy that, and of the 30 plus years I've lived in Mount Pleasant, I probably lived about half the time in Old Mount Pleasant. We built a house in Old Village back in right as the recession hit, but that's another story for another time. The thing I loved about living over there, you could bike to Sullivan's Island. Your kids can bike to Moultrie Middle School. They can bike to Mount Pleasant Academy. You can golf cart or ride your bicycle to the shops and restaurants on Coleman Boulevard. I really like Red Drum if you're looking for a good spot along there to eat. And you can, golf cart, bicycle over to Shem Creek. Shem Creek it's a great spot. It's a beautiful place to watch the sunset. I think that the food is a little overpriced for dinner, so I would recommend if you're going to go to Shem Creek for a meal, is go for lunch, go for a cocktail, whatever it is you want to do. But I would say there are better restaurants throughout Mount Pleasant, certainly in downtown Charleston, to spend your money on. Some of my favorite spots in Old Village and Old Mount Pleasant or Pitt Street Bridge. I really think that if you come to town and you just want to, catch some beautiful vistas of Charleston, Sullivan's Island, the harbor, it's an old bridge that doesn't connect Sullivan's Island anymore like it used to, but you can walk out there as public land, and I highly recommend, you check that out. I also like the Post House Restaurant. That's on Pitt Street, and Pitt Street predates the Revolutionary War, so if you want kind of a little historic walk along a street with some shops and restaurants, check out the Post House. And I also, like I mentioned earlier about Alhambra Hall. Alhambra Hall is the town of Mount Pleasant owns it now. You can go out and have a picnic, throw the Frisbee with your dog, hang out, watch the sunset, and it's, again, all public land. A nice little playground adjacent to it too, so if you got kids and they want somewhere to play, you get a nice sea breeze a lot of times, so I recommend that. Housing mainly consists of single-family homes, but there are condos and townhomes in Old Mount Pleasant. Up towards the front, towards Ben Sawyer and Center Street, you have a small pocket of townhomes that were built in probably the 40s and 50s that, that covers non-single family homes inventory. And then there's about 6, right as Venning Street and Pitt Street T-bone each other. There's an old magazine factory that they converted probably about 10 years ago into some luxury condos. Those don't come on the market very often, but they're very nice and right in the dead center of the Old Village proper. Again, my name's Bob Brennaman with Brennaman Group. I love to talk about the area, and I'd love to help you any way I can. You can reach me at 843-345-6074. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the right-hand corner of your screen. And again, appreciate y'all watching. Till next time, y'all.